Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to actually compare the IS5 to all the other ISs in tier 8. So I get this question a fair bit: which is better? Is the IS5 worth it in relation to spending 1500 gold on buying it? Because this is a premium tank. You can only reach the ability to buy it through your clan. So if your clan has reached supply level 10, you can buy this tank with 1500 gold. So it's a pretty good opportunity actually. If you compare this with the IS3, which is if you go and look on the tech tree, IS3 heavy tank, it sits right here. So it finds it's all the way right up to IS7 in tier 10. So that's where that sits in relation to a normal grind. So if you want to get to IS7, you have to grind this tank. Now, it's a pretty good tank for a tech tree tank. If we start then comparing it to the IS3 Defender, IS3 Defender is kind of like a freak tank. It's not a real tank. It just basically is one of those gimmick tanks. It's also a premium tank, so it gives you good credits. The other one, which used to be an absolute beast back in the day, was the IS6. Now, IS6 has really fallen behind. If it was me, I wouldn't waste my money buying this tank anymore. Okay, so comparing IS6 to IS5, IS5 destroys it all day long. Now you look at the pike nose here, which is my cursor's running over it. That's got a great set of angles on it. Compare it to IS6, doesn't have that, right? So you've got the flat front, which looks a lot like the Chinese heavy tanks in this range. So start sort of comparing just how they look. That's a big difference there in itself. So IS3 and IS5 are pretty much the same. That's IS5, that's IS3. So you have a look at, there's not much difference there. Now, one thing that you will note when we start actually digging into this is IS3. So we start looking at the turret. Turret has 220 millimeters of armor, but the hull's got 110. Now, if we go back to IS5, this might be a little bit boring for some people, but this is explaining it. Turret has 201, so it has slightly less armor on the turret, but the hull has more. The sides are also 120, and if you have a look back at IS3, the sides are only 90. So you can IS5, you can side scrape a bit more, a bit like we do in the German tanks. And a lot of people forget you can side scrape in the IS range, which used to be the thing to do in the IS7 was side scrape, hull down side scrape. So that used to be how people played that tank a lot. Now, Defender, if we go over to it, Defender, heaps more turret armor, but the hull is the same as the IS3. So IS5 still has better hull armor than the IS3 Defender, but the IS3 Defender has a great turret. It's much more stronger than what it is in the IS3. IS6, wait till you see this, 150 turret armor. So the turret is weak. Yes, it has a lower profile, but the turret is not great. The hull 110, so again, it's less of a beast in relation to IS5. IS5 still has the best hull armor out of all of these tanks. Now, the other thing to consider with IS5, if we start looking at the actual damage per minute, 2036. So it's got the highest damage out of any of these tanks. So IS3, 1966, pretty comparable, but it's still less. Then you look at the IS3 Defender, which has an auto loader, right? You start looking at this, 1897, so it's way down damage per minute. So yes, you've got less armor on this thing. You've got more armor in the turret, but you've got less armor in the body, and you do less damage per minute. So let's go across to IS6, damage per minute, 1926. So again, it's less again than IS5. So IS5 wins so far with damage per minute, also wins so far with hull armor. And now what else we're going to look at? We're going to look at, let's look at the speed of the tank. So we'll come right down here. Top speed, 42 kilometers an hour from IS5. Average speed's around 30. And I think you're going to find that this is going to be fairly similar. So average speed's up by 1 kilometer an hour. So 38 kilometers an hour. What do we go back to here with the IS5? Speed 42 kilometers an hour. So IS5's faster, but the average speed of the IS3 is better, which means it may climb hills slightly better. Now Defender, I think you'll find, is 40 kilometers an hour. So the average speed's down though. So again, it probably doesn't climb as well. So the speed of these tanks are all very similar. Let's drop back to here. Top speed on the IS6, 35, average speed 28. So that's where you start looking at those 4 tanks that we're comparing there, and it's pretty obvious that the IS5 is the beast IS in tier 8 out of all of these vehicles. And I would say to you 100%, get this tank. It's a great credit earner in tier 8 once you learn how to play it. And it plays really well. So great gun, does a lot of damage, and looking at those armor statistics there, you'll see it actually is a tank that is worthwhile. It's worthwhile to play, and you get really good credits out of running it. So I thought I'd run you through a game in this thing. Now, this is not a spectacular game. It's nothing over the top. It's just a classic game in the IS5, and give you a little bit of a look at how it plays if you're not sure. So what I'm doing here is I'm following our medium tanks out here on the right flank, going to give them some support, and hopefully to capture the D. Now our heavy tanks are sort of hanging around C, but they forget to capture it, so that kind of creates a little bit of a complication for us, but nothing too over the top. But as you can see here, our guys are doing a great job of just holding things off here at D. But because I'm a heavy tank, I want to kind of get into the action. So I've got a truckload of hit points, and I've got a gun that does a fair amount of damage, so want to get in and do some damage. Now this is a rarity. That shot there that you saw hit the T-49 moving is rare. The gun handling on all these Russian heavy tanks is average, unfortunately. So that's one thing that you'll find with the IS5 is the gun handling is not great. So you do need to kind of get up close and personal with most things to get shots on. You see, I didn't quite wait for that bloom to fully close in, but I was pretty close to that T-49 to shoot him into the back there. So I made sure that I had a pretty good chance. Look, as I was talking about before, the reload time on this gun is reasonable for a heavy tank with a decent caliber. So it allows you to do a little bit of brawling, but you do want to be careful. So you don't want to stick yourself in the line of fire, but you also at the same time want to... Now I had a bit of lag that crept in here, and obviously missed out that shot because he's on the fly, and unfortunately I've gone to shoot him, and I've missed him because my gameplay was actually a little bit behind my inputs for the controls, so missed that shot unfortunately. But here's what I'm doing. You actually see me use this bank to get a little bit of cover. You see my reticle there was not fully closed in, so I didn't try and take that shot because I probably would have missed. And I'll show you an example of that a bit later on in this game where I do miss just from trying to clutch out that shot there. So again, waiting to try and close that in as much as I can before I take that shot to get the accuracy there. Good old Russian tanks aren't known for their accuracy with their guns. So that's a downside, but you're going to get that with IS6, you're going to get that with the IS3, and you certainly get that with Defender as well. So it's common across all of these guys. So that's not a deficiency in this tank, it's just the way they play. Get rid of this VK, so you can see that's the kind of damage that you can do with this thing. It does a really good job. So pushing on, gonna come up on B, and now my idea is that we are pretty much in front in this game. So I've got a truckload of hit points still up my sleeve, and I want to capitalize on it. So I'm going to push in on this Tiger P, and the Tiger P is going to get dispatched by us. So you can see, just trying to push up. I know that other Tiger that's over at the back there's only a Tiger 1, rapid rate of fire, but he's being pursued by another teammate. So I can focus pretty much in on this guy here, and you see he's not even trying to shoot me because he knows he can't pen the front of this tank. And within 2 shots we get rid of him. So we're now well up in this game. There's only 2 of them left. There's this Tiger and this AMX, which actually did a really good job, the AMX, on the opposition team, of trying to keep us all out. But he's fighting a losing battle here. So I want to capture B anyway, just in case he racks off and we can't catch him. Remember, a heavy tank, so it's not as fast as what he's going to be. And I just want to ensure that we get the win. So you should always do that. You should always take the chance to grab something like that in terms of capture points. Make sure you're capturing and unlocking bases when you need to. Now here's a shot I'm talking about. Had a you can see the lag. I've pulled the trigger on that and the lag's just gone back, but the reticle wasn't even closed in on it, so it was just going to be one of those shots that I shouldn't have taken. Should have waited till I got up the hill here and had a good go at him. Now this Tiger has done pretty well to defend himself up here at A. He's on a losing battle, and you can see they're all arcing up on their side of the fence. So the Reds aren't happy. This guy's about to meet his maker anyway, and you can see he shoots at me, and I just go straight through the front of that Tiger 1, which is, you know, essentially how it's done. And you can see by that we had a decent game. Wasn't an amazing game. It was only a first class level 2, but look at the credits, nearly 70,000 credits in that game. So it's been proven time and again. About 13 games in this thing doing stuff like that, you're going to be producing 1 million credits, and that's what you need to do if you're grinding tanks and you're trying to get new things into your inventory. Yeah, what are our statistics on this thing? Let's go up here. Let's have a look at the IS5. I've played 57 games in it, 57% win rate, and up over 1500 in average damage in this tank. So that's creeping up. I had a really shocking start in this tank because I really just didn't like it. I wasn't enthusiastic about it. And those stats are improving all the time. So I reckon I should get that up over 50, 60, 58 to 59, maybe even over 60 eventually. 57 games in, that's not a lot of games in that tank yet. So I think that you don't learn tanks up until around 100 games. Personally, that's just my opinion on that. So yeah, that's what I think about the IS5. If you're considering what to do, I think the answer is right there, and the proof is in the pudding. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also like the video. See you around.